Welcome to TIME100 Talks. We're joined now by Tony Elumelu from Lagos, Nigeria. He is the group chairman of the United Bank for Africa. Welcome, sir.
Good to be with you, King.
You are a billionaire who has pledged $100 million to create 1 million jobs on the African continent. Yet here comes COVID. The African Development Bank has said the African continent is sure to go into a recession. You already had half of the continent near food insecurity levels that are dire. And your own CEO of your foundation predicts that another 23 million will be joining the ranks of extreme poverty. You have a locust swarm in East Africa that's sure to have a knock-on effect in food insecurity. And yet, you just made a multi-million-dollar investment in the bank you chair. Isn't that a pretty big bet at a dire time?
I think there's no better time to make that bet than the time we live in. You know, what the world needs today, and Africans in particular, is hope. And that, to me, is what will make the difference. But that hope has to be backed by tangibility, some substance, so that we can make it work. I was born and bred in Africa. I have seen poverty firsthand, and I know what this kind of economic hope and opportunity can do in catalyzing entrepreneurship and helping across Africa and helping to address extreme poverty that we have. Creating economic opportunity through what we do at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, through the endowment you spoke about, the $100 million endowment, is our own way of making sure that we keep the hope alive and we're able to create jobs that will help to eliminate poverty on the continent.
Yet for businesses to succeed, especially for entrepreneurs to succeed, they need investment capital. And this is a time when a lot of countries are already turning inward. Aid is going to be in even shorter supply. How are you going to lure that investment capital?
You know, for us, what we do and what we believe is that capital is important, but more importantly, there are other things that you need to do. We have seen firsthand, working through the Tony Elumelu Foundation, through the endowment we have put in place, working across the 54 African countries and trying to catalyze entrepreneurship, that training is important as capital, that mentorship is important as capital, that creating, as we have done at the foundation, a digital platform that brings all of these budding African entrepreneurs together, creating a virtual marketplace for them, which was even done before the COVID pandemic, tells us that working together with all key sectors, private sector, government sector, development partners, like the African Development Bank you spoke about, we can indeed make a difference. And the time we live in today calls for that.
Let's talk about the foundation and its work. You were well on your way, about 6 years into a decade-long project to create 10,000 entrepreneurs. And I think you were around 9,000 at last count. How are you helping them keep their jobs, keep their businesses afloat?
We live in very interesting times. The pandemic is huge, especially on our continent, and most importantly, on these African entrepreneurs. But what we're trying to do at this point in time through the work of the CEO of the foundation and his team at the Tony Elumelu Foundation is to create hope, encourage them, tell them that tough times don't last. I mean, you're talking to a man who has seen this kind of thing in the past, not of this magnitude, but I was born in northern part of Nigeria, a place called Jos. My parents lived there. They were comfortable. And then we had a civil war, which is at the time to this pandemic that we're talking about today. We left there and left everything that they ever built and accumulated there. But today, life is different. The difference is resilience. The difference is having economic hope. The difference is always thinking positive and knowing that tomorrow will be better than today. And that is what through the Tony Elumelu Foundation we're doing right now. We're talking to these young Africans, telling them, don't let your economic aspirations die with COVID. Hang in there. So we are now, through the platform we created before, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we'll call TF Connect platform, which connects all these African entrepreneurs. We're able virtually to engage them on a day-to-day basis, get resource speakers from all over the world and ourselves to talk to them, to let them know how to manage difficult moments like that. And this, by the way, what we go through in business almost every time, just that this one is of a different proportion and dimension.
So your CEO had said that she expected COVID to hit small and medium businesses across Africa the hardest. I mean, hope is a great thing to have, but are you warning these entrepreneurs that they might have to close and mothball those businesses and then try to reopen them at a better time?
No. What we're saying is necessity is the mother of invention. We need to innovate. We need to keep thinking. Prior to this time, if you wanted to interview me, would have thought that the best way to do it is to sit down together. You are in the US or in the UK, I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we're having this conversation. So we're preaching to them the possibilities, that possibilities exist, and let them keep thinking of how to improve on whatever business idea they have.
Your long-term plan was to create 1 million jobs in 10 years. You were 6 years into the project. Before COVID, how many jobs do you think you created, and how many of those jobs might be at risk right now?
From the survey that my team administered and they keep administering, the beneficiaries have almost like double. Not all of them are succeeding, but we have, in terms of at least 72% of our beneficiaries, and it's not 6,000, now we have about 9,500 hanging in there, expanding their business. By the way, you know the story of SMEs and non-SMEs. Most of them die after year one. But we're seeing a different trend. We're seeing beneficiaries of our program in different countries, even on this pandemic in South Africa, in Senegal, in other parts of Africa, Cape Verde and co. They all involve one way or the other now in creating the PEP that they need to drive this. So we're seeing contribution jobs that the 1 million job we set out to achieve, because given our background, we realize that it's not just enough to say we want to catalyze entrepreneurship. We need to measure what we're doing. Hence, we put certain criteria, the number of jobs, the revenue in turnover of businesses we catalyze. We are happy to see on the revenue side that they are growing. The last report I saw on the sample, I think they sampled about 200, and we saw like $72 million in annual revenue. That's impressive.
How do you think COVID is going to impact business across Africa? How is it going to change the way people do business?
I am the chairman of United Bank for Africa, UBA Group. UBA operates in 20 African countries with over 1,000 branches across Africa and serving over 20 million people. In the past, it was a problem for me, for instance, to have a meeting with all bank directors or chairmen. But just on Friday, we had a seminar with all directors of the bank through the virtual network. And it was very seamless, very useful, and everyone participated fully. We are seeing that happen. In my business now, in the banking business, digital transformation orchestrated or heightened further by COVID is a new way. Right now, you have less than 15% of our over 20 million bank customers across Africa transacting in the bank. Most of them transact online, which is over 85% of 20 million customers. That's significant. Before COVID, it was about 65%. So it's over 88% now. So that is significant. United Bank of Africa has seen an explosion in its digital platform. Thankfully, the bank invested significantly prior to this time, and now they're even investing more so that they can serve customers better.
And the more Africans get online, do you think that means more opportunities to rescue some of these businesses down the line?
What we just need to do is to make sure that digital connectivity, to make sure that the bandwidth, the telecom infrastructure that will support the explosion that we're seeing, and the new digital natives that we're having across Africa is encouraged. The time has come, and I believe, in the past, people used to say Africa demographic dividend of our population is. I think the time has now come to reap that demography, that dividend of our demography, and I think we need to begin. This is what I say to my friends from across the world when I engage with them. Even this morning we had conversation that we need to begin to think of life post-COVID, and today begin to build the right foundation that enable us reap the enormous benefit opportunity I think is about to happen. The truth is, Africa is a continent of opportunity, but we've had challenges. I will come to say have challenges. But private sector must play a leading role in changing this. And in doing that, we need government to support it. We also need Friends of Africa to support it. You know, my wife and I were discussing yesterday. She is a Gavi ambassador for Africa. And she was just telling me about the progress that we've made in polio because she preaches immunization across the continent. And she was telling me about the progress that has been made in Africa, the Polio Gate Foundation, and co. That is the kind of collaboration we want to see in the 21st century, all working together to help, whether in the area of health sector or entrepreneurship, working together to help Africa move to the next level. And I believe, using this platform to say that Africa is ripe, and the young Africans are energetic, they're restless, they're ambitious, they want to succeed. And the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we want to continue to support them, and we need everyone to go incentive so we can do more for this.
If I can ask you one question about an extra job I saw that you took on, some way that COVID changed your life. You put a photo on Instagram with one of your sons. Can you tell us about that?
Kim, you got me there. So, COVID has changed lives and what we do. My wife has become a one-woman hairdressing salon operator. She made the girls' hair. So I have now learned how to barb to cut the boys' hair. So I now do it at time. Yesterday I did it again in the evening.
So she's braiding your daughter's hair and you are handling the haircuts of the boys? How's it going? Any mistakes so far? Have they forgiven you?
Well, the boy, I didn't cut his skin, but I gave him an interesting hairstyle. So for that, the first time we were changing. But that tells you the good thing about COVID. There's also a good thing, by the way, about COVID. That is helping families stay together and also creating platforms. So some of these expertise that we didn't know existed in us before. But it's quite interesting. You got me there.
Well, my last question to you, you've been generous with your time. So my last question is, Africa is going to need a lot of foreign investment to recover from the pandemic. What is your pitch to businessmen worldwide? Why should they invest there?
Now, Africa is a land of opportunity, as I said before. Challenges exist in Africa, but so do we also have huge returns on investment. Most people don't know about opportunities in Africa. Most people see the other side of the cup. What I say to my friend, I do this every time I interact with my friends, is this is the time to invest. The population is huge. It's a young population. There's today macroeconomic stability than ever before, and there's a willingness genuine willingness and realization by African leaders, especially the public sector leaders, that capital goes to where it's welcome. And so they are trying now to create the enabling environment, their markets, their countries, to attract this foreign investment. So time to come to Africa is now, and the kind of returns you make in Africa is huge.
Thank you, Mr. Elumelu. We wish you and your family health, and we appreciate you taking time to talk to us today.
Thanks.